Welcome to Group Dates and Hot Takes, a Bachelor Nation podcast. I'm Sampy.
And I'm Christy. And we're recapping Michelle's season of The Bachelorette.
We are back for episode 4. So much drama, so much excitement, so much upheaval, perhaps. I don't know, I'm not going to spoil anything. We're going to go item by item here.
Yeah, we did get a new villain, which is fun.
And he was kind of a jerk.
Those are the best villains.
Why can't everyone just be nice?
Because you wouldn't watch this show if there were no villains.
Christy, I'm only watching this show because of you, okay? That's the only reason I'm watching it.
I didn't
watch it beforehand. I'm watching now.
I know, it's still very shocking for me.
Well, I guess before we get into all of it, any news to report from outside?
There was just one event this past weekend, the New York City Marathon. A bunch of Bachelor people ran in it. So I just was impressed by the times I saw. Like, Dr. Joe was like 3 hours, 20 minutes. Even Tayshia ran, and she beat Tyler and Matt. She beat their times. So Pilot Pete also ran, Dustin, who was on his season. So it was quite a few of them.
Wow.
It made me feel very lazy.
I mean, 3.5 hours isn't that great.
3.5 hours?
As I sit over here not being able to run at all because of my feet.
Yeah, that was it.
I also heard, and this is totally unrelated, that Chelsea Clinton, or Chelsea, I never remember her name, Chelsea Clinton ran the marathon as well, anonymously.
Okay, I was going to say, well, why didn't we hear about that? But that makes sense. Interesting.
I mean, definitely not as exciting as Bachelor people running. That's for sure.
No.
But yeah, let's get to it. We finally eliminated Jamie.
Yes, one villain is gone, but another one springs up.
More will be created, of course. I still am not a huge fan of Martin, to be totally honest with you.
Oh, I just don't like his hair, but other than that, I don't really have much of a problem with him.
That's kind of mean. I don't like him at all. Because I don't have time for nuance. Yeah, I mean, so typically, I think, right? Is this typical, or is it usually the reverse, where it's usually 2 group dates, 1 one-on-one?
It changes. Like earlier in the season, when you have tons of people, that's when you have the 2 group dates usually. But sometimes they switch it up.
Well, Martin is gonna get this one-on-one.
Yes, let's get love back on track. So clever.
I know, right? Wow, what a wonderful turn of phrase.
Yeah, they arrive at some raceway, and we get
Christy,
the first.
It's not even just any old raceway. I'm pretty sure it specifically was a BMW test track.
Oh, really? Well, there was tons of BMW product placement.
Well, yes, because it was at the actual BMW place, but I'm sure some money changed hands there. Let's be real.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure it was from ABC. Let's put it that way. Yeah. I guess the whole point here was to just drift on the test track.
Yeah, I've seen this kind of date before. People just racing around, spinning, drifting, like. Eh.
Very sad. Wow, you don't want to go drift?
I mean, that it's just not my thing, I guess. But I know some people love it. And then they like race each other. She wins.
Yeah, I really don't. I don't know. I'm not convinced as to the overall safety of such a thing.
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
Given the somewhat unstable personalities that you have on these shows.
And the use of alcohol.
No,
on
Christy,
dates.
they definitely didn't drink anything before that. Come on, please. Don't
Also,
be mean.
there were like cars you could see like in the background next to the track, and then there's shots of Martin just like spinning, careening all over the place. So it didn't look very safe to me.
Safety Inspector Christie was not pleased with this date whatsoever. Yeah, please go ahead.
Nothing. I was just gonna move on to the random metal hot tub.
Well, I mean, it was probably just a stock tank that you would use to, like, have water in for cows.
That's even weirder. To be soaking in.
I mean, that's what it looked like. I mean, look.
It looked like a tin can.
You can have, and this is a complete tangent, but you can have stock tanks be decent pools, okay? My sister actually got a stock tank and turned it into a proper pool for my niece with, like, filtration and everything. So it can happen.
That sounds much nicer than what they had here.
Wow.
This looked like a hollowed out tin can, and
ABC put their heart and soul into this stock tank hot tub, Christy, and you're just sitting here
I'm
on
just
your
saying,
high horse.
Of all the years I've watched this show, I've seen many, many nicer hot tubs.
Well, but just think, they were literally at the BMW test track. There isn't going to be a hot tub there, so they had to bring something like cheap and easy in. So I'm sure they literally just were like, "Oh, there's a Tractor Supply down the street. Hey, assistant, go get them to deliver us a stock tank to the BMW test track."
Yeah, it just really stood out to me.
I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't even warm.
Oh. It didn't look like it had a heater.
Yeah.
It didn't have any jets.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I would not be surprised if the fantasy scenario I just described was actually true.
Yeah.
But here, of course, is where we see a giant amount of idiocy.
Oh, yes. Just massive.
I don't understand why.
I thought Martin was smarter than this.
Well, I mean, you've seen the hair. So,
well,
clearly some
true
questionable decision making. But yeah, I mean, the fact that he gets a one-on-one date, right? Which is like the premium level bachelorette experience, right? Where you're like, you need those so that you can take it to the next level, progress your relationship. Like, you need those one-on-ones. You get a one-on-one, which is the best possible situation you can be in on the show, pretty much. And you decide to sit there and use this wonderful opportunity you've gotten to be like, you know that guy that, like, everybody hated because he was manipulating them and manipulating you, and then you walked him out because he was being a turd and trying to just pretend that he was looking out for your best interest when really he was just trying to manipulate the situation. Remember that guy? Yeah, actually, like, I kind of respect him a lot.
I couldn't believe it was so dumb. Like, why would you spend your time talking about somebody you know she hates?
You can't do that.
Like, oh, he's not that bad of a guy. But also, I respect your decision.
There are certain instances where one should just keep their mouth shut, and that was one of them. Like, you could have talked about literally anything.
This is another instance where I just wonder, like, has he seen the show before? Because I just feel like all you need to do is watch one season of this show. The seasons are all kind of the same. There's certain things you just don't do. And the one at the top of the list is questioning the lead's decision. But somehow...
Yeah, somehow...
He doesn't go home. I don't know what happened here.
I was very surprised. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, man, it is over for him. But somehow,
yeah, like at the nighttime portion, we start off with clearly they have already made out.
How would you know that, Christy?
Well, you could see he's wearing lip gloss, so I don't see any other explanation.
Well, he wasn't wearing it strictly.
It was there.
It was more of a transference type situation. Yeah, but he ends up like turning around, talking about how like his dad was never good at communicating, and like
this was his reason for what he said earlier, which I feel like they never actually circled back to the fact that he liked Jamie or whatever, was questioning. I feel like that kind of got swept under the rug, and we just started talking about raising a family and crying and showing emotion. I didn't really understand what that had to do with him sympathizing with Jamie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't either, but for some reason, it just, she changes her opinion and she gives him the rose, which I was completely shocked by.
Yeah, it was surprising. And then they go to a planetarium afterwards and make out, as you do.
I mean, look, there are few places as romantic as a planetarium. That, ladies and gentlemen, was the supreme weight of Christie's skepticism.
Wow. I don't know.
Look, so I've heard that the stars are very romantic, okay?
Yeah.
Definitely let us know your opinions on stars, everyone. Is Christy wrong?
Well, no, it wasn't the
stars. On the romanticism of stars.
I was just more so thinking of the building, but.
Oh, okay. You gotta focus on the stars, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he gets the rose. Unfreaking believable.
Yeah, I don't see a ton of connection between them either. Not compared to some of the other people.
No, like really the only thing was during the Top Gun date, he like walked over to him and was like, "You doing okay?"
Maybe that's all it took.
I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, maybe. I guess sometimes stranger things have happened. But yeah, so the group date that almost destroyed the entire show. And also created our next supervillain.
Oh, yes. Well, there's like a knock on the door, and there's a bunch of gift bags. So Nate brings them all in, and they're filled with PJs and like slumber party attire, basically. But everyone's is different though, because Chris S, our future villain, I think, got tidy whities. Some people got bathrobes and slippers.
Yeah, and I'm sure they literally were just, I mean, the funny well, it would be funny if the producers were just like, bring us some random thing that could be like used as pajamas, and then they just gave it back to everyone. I don't know if that probably isn't true, but that's just kind of what it felt like, because it was a very just completely odd assortment of different types of PJs and robes and all sorts of things. Yeah, because the group date was a slumber party with so many activities.
I mean, this actually looked fun. Like,
you take that back, Christy.
They arrived and there was like cotton candy, popcorn, a game of Twister, stuffed animals, just like, I'm not surprised that the men started having too much fun without her.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, man. Yeah, so basically what seems to have happened is that Michelle got upset because the guys were having too much fun and not paying attention to her. Yeah. And that theme kind of considered. I mean, did you know who the Bella twins were?
One of them was on Dancing with the Stars years back, but I don't really know who they are. Apparently they're WWE superstars, but that's...
So basically just they're wrestlers.
Yeah, that's all
Fake
I know.
Wrestlers.
Yeah.
And of course they just continue exactly the same thing as the Top Gun date, just with teddy bears instead of foam Q-tips.
This was actually very funny to watch. They've got like these enormous teddy bears that they're whacking each other with.
Yeah, and so of course you gotta up the stakes. So divided into teams, the winning team gets to go to the after party. Dun dun dun. And I felt bad for some of these people, particularly Brandon. Poor Brandon.
Oh, yes, who was matched against Olu, who looks like a wrestler.
No, he's not even a wrestler. He's jacked. Like that.
Well,
dude,
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, just big guy, muscular. Like, he had no chance.
Like, I'm pretty sure he was the one who they showed in, like, because they had this, like, montage of the guys, like, psyching themselves up and doing stuff. And I'm pretty sure Olu was the guy who literally, so he, like, did a push-up into, like, he pushed himself off. So he literally, like, completely came up off the ground as he did a push-up. Like,
yes,
completely off the ground. You have to be very strong to do that. Let me just tell you. And he kicked Brandon's butt.
Yeah, can we also talk about the fact that Nate versus Will, somehow Will won that? Nate is like so much taller than him. I feel like he should have just been able to whack him down, but
look,
somehow Will won that one.
Look, sometimes you want it more, all right? It's the only way I can explain it. And Will
even though
wanted it.
Nate still ended up on the winning team, even despite that.
Somehow.
Yeah,
he did.
and throughout all this time, Michelle is just sad because nobody is talking to her, which is kind of weird that, like, nobody did. Like, I'm not sure what was up with that.
There was even one moment earlier on where a handful of the guys were talking, and one was like, "You gonna go talk to her?" No, I can do it later. Ouch.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Very strange. So after she talks with Caitlyn and explains like how she is used to feeling overlooked in these kind of situations, like never the one asked on a date, and she didn't think she'd have to deal with that problem here, which I get. Like, she's the Bachelorette, like that shouldn't be something she has to deal with.
Yeah, I feel conflicted. First of all, because I feel like honestly that this whole thing went pretty well. Like first of all, as we said, like I think it makes sense that the guys, right? Because I mean, as far as like we've talked about this a little bit before, but like, isn't it incredibly boring to like be there 99% of the time?
Oh yeah, you're just sitting there.
So like from that angle, it makes sense that the guys were like, "Oh wow, we have something fun to do."
Yeah.
But then of course, right? It also makes sense that Michelle would be a bit upset that
everyone ignored her.
Everyone's just like, "We're having fun without you."
Well, why didn't they even like bring her into the fun?
I don't know,
with them. It was strange.
Even the that scene where Olu was having people punch him.
Mm-hmm.
Even then, they were like, "Oh no, you don't want to be part of this."
Yeah.
which was very strange. So like, I get why she would be upset about that, and I feel like the whole process, like I feel like it was handled very maturely, because like she was upset about it. Then she like was like, "Hey, like I'm upset about this. It seems ridiculous that like I'm the Bachelorette and you guys are just like, let me go eat popcorn and play with my guy buddies." And then I also feel like the guys responded well to that, which I felt like was a pretty mature progression of things and everything. And perhaps handled more maturely even than Katie would have.
Oh, shots fired.
No, but that was interesting to me, because I was like, yeah, this makes sense, right? Because even if like intentions are misunderstood and stuff, like feelings can be hurt, and it was good to see all of that like resolved, and for Michelle to put that out there and for the guys to respond positively to that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, and I hate this but I'm gonna say this but anyways, because I don't understand Michelle's like being overlooked. I know there's like the black person in Minnesota factor, but like there aren't 0 black people in Minnesota, and it just seems so insane to me. Like, there's a reason that she was picked to be the Bachelorette. Like, she's a beautiful person.
Yeah, I just think in real life it might be different for her. I mean, I don't really know what the dating scene is like out in Minnesota, but she talks about being like the only black girl in a classroom or whatever. And so I guess whoever she was around growing up or whatever, they just bypassed her for everyone else, which that's not an uncommon thing for black women from what I've heard. But it's just kind of strange that it manifested itself this way in this group date. I mean, I don't really think the situations are exactly the same, because this is like a TV production, and so there's just all kinds of other factors involved with producers and stuff. But
Oh yeah,
she still felt the same feeling, I guess.
Oh yeah, and I'm not disagreeing with that. I just what I have a hard time understanding is like in my world, like attractive people get treated way better than like normal people.
Yeah, it's just people are dumb sometimes. Sometimes race is a factor, even if you don't want it to be. But yeah, I don't know why she's really pretty. I don't know why she would have been left behind and overlooked back in like high school or whatever.
I don't know. Yeah, so
Olu gets the rose on this date because she had a good convo with him about, I guess, he relating to what his sisters went through growing up. So.
And he's also super jacked, which I'm sure did not hurt his case. Yeah.
Yes. She felt seen by him, so he got the rose.
You gotta make her feel seen.
I know. I love how that led to like a montage of all the guys like, oh, backtracking, let me reassure you, like, you're important, I see you, all that.
Look, sometimes you just get caught up in the popcorn, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It just happens. I mean, it's happened. This happened to everyone, I'm sure. Well, the one-on-one with
Rick.
What do you think about Rick?
So I know in previous weeks I talked about how I found him like a little bit creepy. I feel like some of that went away with this date. I think some of it is just like sometimes the way he tilts his head and like looks really intensely. That's the part that like.
Wow. Some people live their lives with passion, Christy. Okay.
I don't know that passion is how I would categorize that. I don't know. It's really hard to explain, but I didn't find that to be the case like during the daytime portion at least, because they were just like in conversation having fun.
Yep, they got to take a gondola ride up a tall mountain.
Yep, where it was cooler and actually looked
yeah,
like
they were still
refreshing.
In Florida then.
Yeah. Huh?
Right?
California?
Oh, yeah, sorry, Palm Springs.
Yeah.
For some reason, I got Florida in my mind from that. Yeah, that makes sense. Florida's very very flat.
Yeah, so they go hiking, and then they find this wish box, which we were debating, is this real? So, like, it's supposed to be this thing where you read all the previous wishes that are in the box that people have left, and then you write one yourself and put it in.
I don't know if technically you're supposed to read all the other wishes.
I thought that's what the thing said.
I don't remember. I'm not sure.
Well, either way, like the wishes had like different colors, like different color ink and like different handwriting. So if it is fake, they at least went out of their way to make it sort of look real.
Yeah, I mean, my personal theory is that the producers just took all of the wishes out of the box and looked through them until they found ones that would elicit the emotions they wanted and put those on top. That's my theory.
Oh. Yeah, because conveniently there was a wish in there, like I wish my dad could see like who I became or something like that.
Ugh.
And that leads him to tell her that his dad died 3 years earlier.
And is this like the Disney universe now? Just everyone they cast as dead parents?
Not necessarily parents, but something traumatic that has happened.
I mean,
because you have to have something to talk about at the nighttime portion.
Look, we've had a lot of dead parents lately.
Yeah. I feel like a higher percentage than normal.
Katie, Greg, Rick. I'm pretty sure there are a couple more too.
Yeah, like Jamie's mom.
Didn't save him from elimination though.
No, but that's because he dug his own grave there.
Oof. Yeah. So that was it was very heavy, Christy. It was very heavy.
Yeah, so at the nighttime portion, we find out the details of that. So he found a text from a woman on his dad's phone and I guess told his mom about it. And then his mom moved him and his siblings out of the house because his dad had cheated.
And so I thought he had said something about that being when he was like 15 or something.
That sounds right. Yeah, he was a teenager, right?
Yeah, it just seems strange because so it turned out his dad had cheated on his mom, but then like the conclusion, right, was how he had like died because he became depressed.
I guess it was several years later.
Well, it must have been because Rick is like 26, isn't he?
Yeah, so in his 20s, so I guess it's been maybe like 10 years. Well, I guess the dad died 3 years earlier, so maybe like 7 or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed the timeline just seemed a little strange. But yeah.
I also loved this quote from him where he said, "I can't rule out the possibility that I could be falling in love with you."
That's a lot of qualification. I can't rule out the possibility that I could be falling in love with you. Perhaps.
I gotta lay that groundwork.
Look, Christy, all right, this is only episode 4, all right? We can't get too crazy here.
No, we gotta build.
Yeah, we gotta put in a firm foundation here. We gotta progress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, he gets the rose.
Again, because you talk about your dad cheating on your mom and then dying. I mean, what else are you gonna do? Be like, no. Goodbye. That would be a little awkward, wouldn't it?
Just a bit.
Yeah.
So then they go to a concert with Andy Grammer, like somebody I actually recognize.
Who knew? I guess ABC had some extra cash after paying out for Chris Harrison after all.
Yeah, they should do this more often.
Christy, please don't speak that into the universe.
Getting well-known artists?
Oh, no, I thought you were just talking about this nighttime portion in general. The fact that we just have to sit here watching them stand in front of this band, just the two of them, making out and or dancing.
No, but if you are going to bring in somebody, like bring in some people I know.
Christy, this isn't all about you. Yeah, I don't know. It's always a little awkward for me. Just be sitting there like that poor musical artist. Poor me as well. Yeah, well, they seem to be progressing quite nicely. So, good for Rick. Definitely a better status than his initial, I'm just gonna be the weird guy who sticks my head through a table so it looks like I'm decapitated.
Yeah, he started off in a creepy fashion, so it's hard for me to shake that.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah. Well, he's moving along. He's up there. hopefully he doesn't turn into another Jamie.
Mm.
Dun, dun, dun.
No, that's what Chris S. did.
Well, and at least for Rick, he didn't go ahead and take the side of Jamie in his one-on-one like Martin did.
Yeah, one thing we forgot to mention earlier is that I guess when the group date card was being read out, Nate, because Nate was on the group date, so he didn't get the one-on-one, he mentioned something like, oh, it's fine if I didn't get the one-on-one. I'll eventually get one. And Chris was like very put off by this. I don't really know why, but he was
happy.
yeah. And so now it's now the cocktail party, and Chris S is still like taking everything way too seriously and is completely baffled that Michelle wasn't feeling seen the other day on the group date, which he was a part of. So I don't know, it's his fault as well. But so like Michelle walks down the stairs, and then before she can even say anything, he like butts in, and he's like, oh, there's guys here that think they have it in the bag, really just referring to Nate. But you know,
I mean, you gotta blow it out of proportion, Christy. Come on.
And so I love how she said something like, after he finished, like, thank you for your input or something like that. Basically, you could tell she wasn't very happy he did that. And then she's like, nobody has it in the bag yet. And then Brandon tries to like take her first. And then Chris butts in again and is like, actually, I'm going to steal her. Huh. And for some reason, Michelle takes Chris first. I would have picked Brandon. This villainy just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, and he's kind of like just going off of the post slumber party, pre everyone making up with her, like, vibe of what's going on.
Yeah, he's still stuck in that mode.
Yeah, which I just... So, of course, you know, he has to stick in the knife and twist it and be like, yeah, I think these guys are treating you exactly like the guys in high school did. You know, they're not seeing you, and even I heard Nate say.
Yes, and then he repeats that. And you can kind of see Michelle's like face shift when he mentions Nate. It's always a real risk to talk trash about the lead's favorite. And like after he finishes his spiel and then they're getting up, there's like a moment where like Chris thinks she's leaning in for a kiss, and so he also does, but that is not what's happening.
I love it when that happens. Absolutely love it. So great.
Then Chris goes back to the guys and they all hate him.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
I just...
And then...
please continue.
And so then Nate and Michelle talk, and she has to bring up what Chris said about him, and he basically just says he can't control how other people feel about him. And I was just kind of... I don't know if they just edited out whatever else he said, but...
Yeah.
She mentioned she's not a prize, and that was kind of like the end of their convo.
Mm-hmm. But not the end of the situation.
No, because then Nate goes and grabs Chris, and it's just this like big argument. Chris is like, I didn't mean to single you out. I'm like, that's exactly what you did.
And also what you meant to do as well.
Yes. And he's like, oh, Michelle probed him. I don't think that's true.
Doubt.
Chris also thinks he's saving her from the castle she has been stuck in.
Yeah, that's some uncomfortable behavior. I was cracking up though. Just like how people have so like Romeo being like, Chris S is a snake. That's what the S stands for.
Yup. He's a little Weasley snake.
Oh, that was so funny. Yeah. It's not a good look, Chris S. It's not a good look.
No, at one point, Olu asks Chris if he feels like he's getting a rose. And Chris is like, why would you assume I'm not getting a rose?
I love how he then responds, because of the BS you pulled.
Yeah. And then in an ITM, he has this weird statement where he's like, I'm going to wink at Olu and I get the rose. Like,
yeah,
he's such an idiot. Like, what is he thinking?
I don't know. I'm at a loss for how people behave like this. It's very self-centered and rude. Let me just tell you. I do say, and it's, I don't know if you are wanting to go to the rose ceremony just yet.
If there's anything else you have.
No, I just wanted to say how, like, in the end, I was not very pleased with this, but Chris S does get a rose, but does not wink at Olu, which he says that he like just decided not to in an ITM, but like I guarantee you he was afraid of him.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if any contestant is gonna whoop your butt for like being like that towards them, just like this like antagonizing sort of behavior, I feel like Olu is gonna be the most capable of that. I don't know with his personality if he actually would, but
Yeah. And then he has the audacity to say afterward that he knew Michelle was going to give him the rose.
Well, you know, because he's her white knight. You know, he's gonna rescue her from all these other guys who aren't there for the right reasons. You know, Christy? I mean, come on. He has her best interests at heart. I mean, how do you not see that?
I don't know. So the other Chris, Romeo and Will go home.
R.I.P. Will. You were very feisty, but it wasn't enough.
We never even saw much of anything from him this episode either.
No, just the pillow fight. That's it. I mean, I'm not very surprised at who got roses besides Chris S.
And then Michelle announces that they are headed to Minneapolis.
Minneapolis.
And that's it.
Dun, 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 dun. So, they're just picking up and leaving.
Yep. You finally get a little bit of travel.
Well, because I know they in one of the earlier promos, it like showed them like having a baseball group date at like the Twins. I think it was probably the Twins, since they are the Minnesota team after all. At their facility, did they have to like all get like quarantine and COVID test after going up there again?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I feel like for Katie's season they might have, but I don't know. I'm guessing they still did COVID tests. I don't know how much of a quarantine they would have done.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, so I guess, because is this the halfway point as far as people are concerned?
We have 11 guys. Or no, wait. Yeah, 11 guys left. So we've ditched more than half of them, I guess.
I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. I was just curious about the decision to go now instead of like the next episode or whenever. How do you not? You're supposed to know everything, Christy. What is the motivation
for traveling? Well, they want to go to
now, though. Now, what's the motivation now?
Well, if you wait too long, you'll run into hometowns, and you won't have gotten your money's worth out of traveling to a new place.
I mean, I guess because that's gonna be another 4 weeks for us, but a lot less for them.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna need to eliminate 7 more people, so actually it might not even be 4 weeks till then, but we'll see.
Well, I guess because it's hometowns, then fantasy suites, then probably men tell all.
Yeah, I think I heard they're filming her Men Tell All like the 22nd or so of November.
I'm not very happy about the Clayton situation.
Yeah, that's real strange. Because we're seeing like a little bit of him, but there's nothing about him that stands out to me. Like, oh, he should be the Bachelor. Maybe because we haven't seen a one-on-one or anything, but I don't.
Is he
I
even
don't
gonna
get it.
get a one-on-one?
I don't know. You'd think he would, so we at least see something of him. But
this is very weird, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I feel like there are just a lot more interesting guys they could have picked.
Don't worry, Christy. This doesn't have a racial motivation whatsoever.
I didn't say anything about that.
Look, you maybe didn't say it, but the thought was in there somewhere.
Very deep.
I don't know how deep that was buried.
I'm trying to bury it.
Well, I guess then we won't keep the people any longer than they absolutely need to be kept for. 14. That was the kiss number for this episode that were shown on screen, according to my incredibly complex algorithm for determining legal and non-legal kisses.
Yeah, seems like a pretty standard number.
I mean, she's not really getting after it that much.
Well, she's not Katie, I guess.
Wait, are you telling me right now, Christy, that Michelle isn't sex positive and isn't there to find a husband?
No, I didn't say that.
Oh, man. Oh, Christy. That was a low blow.
I'm sure
Cannot
there's
believe it.
plenty more that have been edited out.
Well, that's probably true. I do appreciate. I feel like Michelle is probably. And again, what do I know? Just about nothing. How many seasons of the show have I watched? Barely any. But in my opinion, given all of those caveats, I feel like Michelle is probably their best choice for lead in a while.
Yeah, she's good. She's really good. She's like really mature, but also can have fun and also knows how to handle these situations with the guys pretty well.
It's almost like you should cast fairly well-adjusted people for the show.
Yeah, I mean, not a bad idea.
They're not gonna heed our warnings, that's for sure.
Yeah, so enjoy it while it lasts.
Yep. It will be gone far too soon. And then we will be back to more ridiculousness. Well, Christy, how can the good people of planet Earth reach us?
You can follow us on Instagram at groupdatespodcast or email us at groupdatespod@gmail.com.
Yes, we are here. We are listening for any signals. If they were to arrive, we will talk about them. Probably. Unless it's inappropriate. We don't talk about inappropriate things on this show.
In that case, I will just read it and keep it to myself.
This is very family friendly. Very family friendly show. Just like The Bachelorette.
Yes, fun for the whole family.
Yes. Especially that whole Rodney streaking thing.
It's just a biology lesson.
This has been Group Dates and Hot Takes, a Bachelor Nation podcast. I'm Zampy.
And I'm Christy. We'll talk to you next week.